Last week I made a video about the kind of emotional ups and downs we've all been experiencing, the roller coaster of emotions, or the cycling round of emotions that everyone has been experiencing. And the big message about that is it's really natural if you're faced with rapid change or disruption, you're going to have those kinds of feelings. Today I wanted to talk in a little bit more detail about how to think about emotional management. I'm going to offer maybe 5 or 6 kind of tips or steps to think through your emotions. First thing I want to suggest though is that emotions are a way of kind of communicating with yourself and making sense of your situation. So my first suggestion is, if you feel something negative, if you feel a bad feeling, if you're feeling bad, the message itself is not bad. You're trying to communicate something to yourself. Don't ignore it. Feel the feeling. Quite often we ignore it, or we kind of deny it, or we try and distract ourselves. But if you're feeling bad, you're trying to communicate it with yourself. You're trying to work something out. And so it's really important that you pay attention to your feelings. So my first piece of advice would be to feel the feeling. Now, if the feeling's overwhelming, you don't have to indulge in it. You don't have to over feel it. You just have to sample or taste enough of that feeling to get a sense of what's going on. Typically, the next thing you might do is try and name the feeling. So it might be anger or fear or frustration or worry or anxiety. Whilst labeling the feelings can be useful to start to tune into it, I recommend that you stay with the feeling of it first, the kind of subjective experience of it. Sometimes there are a number of different things that's going on at the same time, and when you label it as anger or frustration or worry or anxiety, it kind of reduces it down a little bit and simplifies it, which on the one hand is good to kind of tune into it, but on the other hand can oversimplify it. So stay with the feeling a little bit. When you stay with the feeling, you can start to work out how the feeling's working, or how you're working the feeling. If you think about it functionally, what's it trying to do for you? Usually there's some kind of judgment, some kind of measurement, some kind of standard. Maybe you feel disappointed, or maybe you feel shocked because things didn't go the way you thought they were going to go, or maybe it involves thinking about the future. Maybe it's some kind of anticipation of how things are going to go. Maybe it's loss. You thought it was going to go a certain way, and you now have to change that plan and try something else. But really useful to work out functionally what's happening. Your feelings are trying to do something for you, and when you start to work out what it's doing for you, you can then sometimes meet your needs differently. Often what goes along with your feelings would be images, thoughts, ideas. You might talk to yourself. You might have multiple feelings in your body at the same time. So it's quite good to attend to all the different aspects, all the different features of it, and try and work out, are these kind of mixed feelings that you have? Are you fighting against your feelings? And then you can start to work out what it's trying to do for you. You can then pay attention to working more effectively for yourself. So if you're worried about the future, then that's really useful. It's, you're trying to keep yourself safe in some sense. Worry by itself though is not going to keep you safe. So what can you add in so it's a more skillful kind of worry instead of a kind of free floating anxiety? What would be a more targeted concern so that you can start to think about the future in a more realistic way? What kind of perspective would it be useful to bring in? What kind of other information? So you might, for example, think of yourself as alone facing this difficult challenge, and then realize, well, hang on, everybody else is in the same boat. Or you might feel that you're going to struggle with some new technology. Maybe it's video technology or kind of video conferencing, and then again you realize, hang on, everyone else is in the same boat. You can bring some perspective for that, and then stop, limit your kind of perfectionist tendencies and be much more realistic about it. So what other kinds of things can you bring to bear on your thinking? What are additional thoughts or new types of feelings can you add in that will help you think and feel more skillfully and more successfully? The last thing I'd suggest is review from time to time. Check in with yourself about how you're doing. If a feeling or a thought keeps coming up, the chances are that you've not resolved it, or there's still some work to do. You could think to yourself, where did I get to? What else do I need to add in? What new thoughts are now coming to mind? What new thoughts would it be useful to consider? The main messages then is, don't shoot the messenger. Appreciate that your feelings are ways of communicating with yourself and a way of making sense of yourself. Functionally, they're trying to do something for you. If you tune into that, you can then meet your needs much more successfully. Let me know how you get on with some of these tips, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.